Welcome to this Saturday Travel and History Tip, and we will be going to New England, the Boston, Massachusetts area. There is so much history in this city, and I recommend everyone make at least one trek to Boston. The national park actually has 14 sites in the state, and we have been to most of them, and I will be taking you over the next few weeks to some of these very exciting sites. Today, I want to take you to one of the least known and probably least visited in all the state. It's the Saugus Ironworks National Historic Site. It is the birthplace of the American iron industry. The Saugus Ironworks is the site of the first integrated ironworks in North America. The historic site includes a reconstruction of the blast furnace, forge, rolling mill, and a restored 17th century house. This is tucked away in a northern suburb of Boston in the thick of things in a residential area along the Saugus River. And we enjoyed our quick visit to this small park, which is very historic and beautiful. The first stop is to go inside the 17th century house and go through the museum. There are many artifacts that they have found and restored at the site, like this, which is a fireback, which was a status symbol at that time. Besides the usefulness of heating chilly rooms, wealthier colonists ordered chimney backs or cast backs to serve as decorative objects. For Puritans, that wealth they displayed in their well-furnished parlors and parlor chambers demonstrated that God had blessed their households. To personalize their firebacks, customers could order initials and dates on part of the design. To decorate Saugus firebacks, the molder combined spindles, fretwork, and boss motifs used in fashionable furniture at that time. To produce the 1656 fireback on exhibit here, he attached separate wooden or metal pieces to a wooden mold board. By pressing the mold board into a bed of casting sand, the molder left behind a detailed impression. As he filled in with molten iron, he was careful not to disturb the fine details recorded in this fragile sand mold. After the glowing molten iron cooled into a solid iron casting, the molder turned it over to reveal unique raised design at the front of the new fireback. And that's some of the things that were produced here at this historic site. They also had this water wheel and hutch from the blast furnace that operated from 1646 to 1670, and it was excavated in 1951. Along with the other artifacts was this binder that had a lot of the information about the design of the ironworks. In commemoration of the 300th anniversary of the settlement of the Scottish war prisoners at the Lynn and Braintree plants of the Company of Undertakers of Ironworks in New England, and this was a tribute to the group of Scots prisoners taken by Cromwell's armies at the Battle of Dunbar, September 3rd, 1650. Ore, charcoal, and rock called gabbro for flux were hauled to this site, and a drying fire was started in the furnace. Within a day or two, the water wheels and bellows were set in motion, and the blast, once begun, would burn uninterrupted for weeks. Workers returned from the forest, bogs, and the gabbro quarry at Nahant to toil around the clock, feeding layer upon layer of measured ingredients into the charging hole. The 340 cubic foot furnace interior held 3 tons of ore, 265 bushels of charcoal, and 2 tons of gabbro rock, which was the fluxing agent. After 3 days of intense heat from the continuous blast, the ore and gabbro were reduced to liquid, and the filled crucible was emptied of its molten contents. The furnace was repeatedly tapped as the layered charging continued day and night. We went inside the casting house, and this sign read, "A furnace at full blast kept founders busy preparing to receive up to a ton of molten liquid iron. Crucible contents were checked frequently, and slag impurities that flowed on top of the heavier molten iron were removed. All preparations had to be complete when the clay plug that held back the fiery liquid was pierced. Founders wore long leather aprons, gloves, and high boots to protect themselves from the searing heat. Founders used simple hand tools, rakes to remove slag, V-shaped hoes called ships, and ladles to fill complex molds. The liquid iron flowed through a network of shallow V-shaped canals to fill even larger V-shaped trenches dug in the sand floor. The iron cooled and hardened into heavy bars called sowls." As we walked around, we could see the beautiful structures and the beautiful scenery along the Saugus River. The reconstructed water wheel and furnace are exemplary. This place is such a wealth of early American history, and I could not do it justice in this quick Saturday travel and history tip, but I hope to whet your interest. Obviously, the iron industry was a vast and needed industry at that time in our history. American history. Learn it. Love it. Appreciate it. Don't let them destroy our history. Share our American history. If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Thank you.